the Zoom meeting, but I am going to be recording it on Facebook. So whoever doesn't get it, doesn't join in on time, they could always log in on Facebook, and I'm going to paste it on my Facebook wall. Feel free if you want to turn your video on, keep your video off, whatever you're comfortable is fine with me. Sorry if the lighting is not so good with the Zoom meeting, but I hope and see what I'm talking about. So thank you so much again for logging in and dedicating your time to being on this meeting. I greatly appreciate it. So I thought this is a very interesting topic to talk about what is the difference between infatuation love versus loyal love. And as you know, there are two different things. One of them, it's a lot more geared towards instant gratification over desire in the here and now, something that you want to feel immediately, something that you want to experience immediately. It's very tangible, very physical, whereas the loyal long-term connection and love is not always like that. It's not instantly, it's not immediately, and it's not right now. So one of the things I wanted to share with you guys is when we read about the story of when Adam was created, the first man was created, man and woman, we learn about the story of Adam, that God took from the earth, put together the earth and formed a human being and blew into his nostril his soul, and the human being came into existence. So human beings are a combination of a physical drive and a spiritual emotional drive. So in order for us to have a good healthy balance in life, we need to stimulate our mind and our heart and physical desire. So it can't be only one force over the other. A healthy relationship needs the combination of both because they are both very significant and important. When a person reaches 12 or 13, the teen years, the excitement and the emotional and the feelings are a lot stronger. The having a crush, falling in love with people, and that experience of that feeling and emotions, they're just so strong when the younger you are in your teen years, and 17, 18, the drive is so much stronger. As you get older, your logic kicks in a different way, whereas the emotional ecstasy is kind of goes a bit lower as you get older. So when it comes to dating and looking for the right person to find as a lifelong partner and a marriage partner, we have to make sure that we are not just dating with our physical sense, that we are not just dating with our desire, with our physical drive, with our physiology, and just pheromone, that we are really dating and choosing a marriage partner and not just a fantasy land of someone that we just want to be with, like a feel good. Because feel good and something that looks nice on the outside, I always say, you wouldn't go, it's not a logical investment to rent a hotel room for your lifetime. It's a logical investment to put a down payment for a home. So when you're dating for marriage, you want to look for someone that is a person that you are willing to invest and put a down payment emotionally, physically, spiritually, to have a lifelong partnership with. You're not looking for a hotel style that just looks nice. You're going for fun and then that's it. You are looking for a lifelong partner. And a lot of times in this generation that I have seen when it comes to dating and setting people up, unfortunately, people have gotten so caught up with the afar, like I told you, that earthly formality of how humans were created, and not pay as much attention to the spiritual part of it. And attraction is like a laws of nurture versus nature versus nurture. So the nature and the surrounding has a big impact of what you consider beautiful wherever you live. As the years go, as the time goes, there was a timing that tanning was nice, and then being light was nice. There was a timing that long hair was nice, short hair was nice, blonde hair, this hair, that hair. The environment that you're in really impacts your perception unless you slow down and you think about it. Many times I meet people that are like very interested in dating a certain types of a type of a person, but when they move into another country, their whole perception and ideology of what is a good match changes. So many times I've come across people that, go abroad to like study, go to yeshiva, go to seminary, go to school, go to college, and they say, I feel like I was able to look at the world from a different perspective. It's like my eyesight changed. And that's part of what happens is you're not so grounded and pulled down by what everyone around you thinks is good. You start taking some time from within yourself and also paying attention to that of what is good for me, what is suitable for me, what is right for me as far as having a marriage partner. Many times when a match comes up and I make suggestions to people, the answers that I get that really, really frustrate me and like really make me wonder of what in the world is going on. Sometimes you make suggestions to guys, you make suggestions to girls about a good match. You say, you know what, I met this person, they have a very good personality. I was wondering if you're interested to meet them. And the rigid boom, 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 boom question starts. We'll start with the girls. The girls ask me, how tall is he? What is his height? How tall is he? The next question is, does he have hair? How does he have full hair? Because, really, I can't do bald. Like, I need him to have hair. Like, I need there to be hair. I need to see a picture. The third question is he educated? And you have to ask, what does that mean? What does education mean? Because education to everyone is not the same. Do you mean education like, is he smart? Do you mean education because you want the prestige or the degree? What do you mean by education? Then it comes out the degree. Oh, so you're looking for the degree. Is he a doctor? Is he a lawyer? Is he did someone want to ask something? No. Okay, so then the list of that comes. So far, there was yet no question asked about the personality, no question asked about who this person is, what their life goals are, nothing. Then we go to the guys. I tell a guy, listen, there's this amazing girl that I want to set you up with. This is how their question starts. Well, I need to know her size. And I say, what do you mean? I need to know, like, what size is she? Because, I really can do 2 and 4. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, women are not shoe size. Like, what in the world do you mean I can only do a size 2 and 4? Like, don't you want to get to know what she's like, who she is, what is she about? Is that seriously the main question that you can think of who's going to make a good wife and a mother to your children? And then after the size 2 and 4, again, with them, it comes a lot of it is about hair. I need her, like, I'm not really attractive to, I need her to have curly hair, or I need her to have, this kind of hair. And then another typical question is then for the guys, it's about the prettiness. Like, I need to make sure I'm drawn to her, I'm attracted to her. And I always tell people, I said, listen, if other things are in place, if you have common goals, again, if you're repulsed or something, it's completely a different story. But there are a lot of good quality people that could be a fantastic, fantastic good match for you, that if you just give it a chance and get to know the person, you might change your mind and get to know them. Tonight I was speaking to a Rebbetzin from Chabad of Santa Monica, and she was telling me that there was a case that she had, that a shidduch was suggested, and the person used to say that there's no way she could ever date someone that has a beard. She just doesn't. She can't do beard. It's not her thing. But they got set up. The person wasn't in town, so they ended up talking on the phone, to meet on the phone. It was such a strong connection with them as they were speaking. So they end up meeting in person, and he had a beard. But she already got to meet his soul. She already got to meet who he is as a person. Then the beard didn't bother her as much, because she got to meet him for who he is. And I can't tell you enough how many times has this happened to me, that I introduce a girl to a guy and the guy says, no way, it's not my type, and then as soon as the girl gets engaged, it happens to be that they get invited for Shabbat, or they see each other here, or they see her with her husband, that they come back to me and they tell me, Natalie, I made such a mistake. Natalie, she was such a quality girl. She's so kind, she's so caring, she's so loving. And I say to them, I told you, you want to look for someone, for men, you want to look for someone that will respect you, that will admire you, that will care for you, that will cherish you like you matter to her, like you're a significant person in her life. And trust me, the size of a woman does not determine the quality and the person that they are on the inside. And we have to be realistic. The shape that people have, parts of it also obviously is good habit and exercise and all that. But God is the one who creates human beings the way that he creates them. Everybody has their own shape. And we get so caught up in this world of Hollywood that we live in that we take for granted to also date the soul. Hello, what happened with getting to meet the souls of people? The soul that's within the mask of the body. The body is like a mask that's really covering the soul, that's covering the neshama. But when we do not ask even one question about the character trait of the person, not even one question, what does that say about you? What does that say about that person? Think about it. They don't ask me one. I had one family, actually, one mother that I really admire her and I like think she's so fantastic. When I said to her, like, what are you looking for? What kind of a guy are you looking for your daughter? And she said to me just like this, midot, midot, midot. Character, character, character. I said, no, you know how like people have a list? What about this? She said, no, no, no. What we want in our family is character. Good character brings everything else with it. Bad character takes everything out the door. And what we teach our children in our home is what you look for is someone that has good manners, someone that's God-fearing, someone that's loyal, someone that's honest, someone that's caring. These are the quality that really matters to us more than anything else. And a lot of singles nowadays that are so particular about this a particular list that they have at that even like an inch of it can't be changed around, they're missing out from the most quality good people that are fantastic spouse material. Just because they don't fit the criteria of like this list, they get ruled out. And it's very, very unfortunate because there are so many good people that are going to become fantastic spouses, but people are not giving each other a chance because their criteria list are so particular in these areas. Again, you're allowed to have your preferences, you're allowed to have what works for you. All I'm saying is it's important that also make sure that these things, when it comes to midot, character, personality, is also part of your list. Down the line, when you get married and you have a family, you have to think to yourself, what looks like a good family to you? What is it like in the afternoon when the husband and wife are home? What is it like when the kids are there? What kind of school do you want to send your kids to? What kind of what kind of a weekend is ideal for you? How do you like to spend your Shabbat? How do you like to spend your Sunday? What kind of family brings you a good feeling in your stomach? If they do, what kind of things do they make you happy? And these things really make a difference, and you need to pay attention to. Once you get married and you have the kids and you have the entourage and you have the family, people keep telling me I need to be able to I need someone educated because I'm educated. And I always tell people there are people that might not have the same credential degrees, but yet they could have a fantastic conversations with each other because they can kind of enlighten each other, work together, talk about these things. So don't think just because someone doesn't have a credential degree that they should be called not educated. One time I went on a date with whatever, a particular surgeon. I have my master's and my doctorate in psychology. I find it to be fascinating. I have all these different degrees. The guy was a surgeon. I'm not going to go into detail what kind of surgeon. I could not have a conversation with him. I I just couldn't. I couldn't wait to go home and go back to my parents' house. And I'm like, forget it. I felt like I was like hitting a rock. Like there was no flow. There was no flow of conversation and like, connection. So it's important to be mindful of that sometimes you can have such a fun conversation with, even though academically and credentially you might not be on the same page, but the soul, like when I met my husband at a Shabbaton that we had, I'm almost 17 years ago, that Friday night conversation was so enlightening. The discussions we had, I didn't even feel the time. The hours were going by so fast. We were sitting there talking to each other. We had a fantastic time discussing things. The last thing on my mind was doing the prosecution of like the credential degree, because there was a connection of the soul that happened. We got to speak with each other and we got to understand each other on a different format of like deeper connection. So this is very, very important. And sometimes people say no to people because they tell me, what are my friends going to say? If they see me with that person, what are they going to say? And I say to them, so you're willing to give up a good quality person that could be such a wonderful mate to you just because of what are your friends going to say, because he might not match the standard of what your friends expect of you or who they have married. But you got to figure out what makes you happy, what makes you excited, what makes you grateful. There's such good girls out there, such kind hearted, caring, modest, down to earth, lovely. They're so sweet. And yet, because they're not out there and they don't like dress in a certain way and this and that, guys don't look at them. They don't get the attention of the guys, so they don't get set up as much because they're so pure and innocent. And yet they make the best type of wife and and like a mother to their children and caring people. And there are guys out there that are hardworking, dedicated, business owner, loyal, do everything they can for their family. But because they don't meet the criteria of the height and the degree and stuff, they're not being matched up. That's chaval. That's really, really unfortunate, because what you want for yourself as a spouse is loyalty, love, connection, and long lasting love. And I'm going to go over a list for us to see the difference between infatuation love and a committed, loyal love. And one thing that I wanted to also tell you is that it says that when God separated the woman from the man, in the series of Ha'adam, it says that God told Adam that from now on you need to livdok, you need to stick to your wife and become basar echad. Livdok to your wife and become basar echad. So the God also gave them the mitzvah of pru'urvu, to have children just like all the animals. But the only thing that God told Ha'adam and not the rest of the animals was the livdok. Stick to your wife and become one unit, basar echad. What does the basar echad mean? If the basar echad means procreation, so that's the same thing he told all the animals. But the basar echad here means you need to be with your spouse in the union that's the stimulation of all the senses together, intellectually, emotionally, spiritually, psychologically, that there is this amazing oneness with the two of you together. And it says that God put Ha'adam to sleep, and then he took from his side and made Chava, which is also another thing to teach us, is that there's that deep within connection that makes all the differences, is that when you have that deep connection. And after they ate from the tree of knowledge, one of the things that happened to Chava, it says that all your life you're going to go and yearn to be with your husband. So he said to the husband, you need to livdok to your wife and become one. And he told the wife that all your life you're going to be yearning to be with your husband. So it shows us that the union that's made in that all senses together is what's powerful and strong. And also Viktor Frankl, a fantastic psychologist that was alive during the time of the Holocaust, he wrote the book Man's Search for Meaning. He has in one of his book, he wrote so beautifully, he said, only the fools think intimacy and sexuality is the only way of communicating love. He said, he called them only the fool. He said, a true wise person knows that sexuality and intimacy is one of many ways to express the language of love. One of many ways, meaning what? In a healthy relationship where man and woman connect with each other in have the ability and the knowledge to connect with each other in different ways, that's what the true love is, that you're able to stimulate and connect in a deeper sense. That's what it means to have a long-lasting love. It's not just about the intimacy and zehu and that's it. It's about that long-lasting love. I was telling one of my friends, I said, people need to think to themselves, I want to get married to someone that my highlight of the day would be, my highlight of my days would be when me and my husband, me and like my, for the men, me and my wife can sit in our front yard, front in a porch or wherever it is with our cup of chai, juice, whatever it is at night that makes you comfortable and enjoy, sit next to each other and talk about how our day was. And that feels like the mini vacation and highlight of our day. That is what would be the highlight of my day. So the beautifulness of the union is not just about the things we do, about looking at each other, about the outside, the restaurant, the this, the that the company of my spouse is what brings me the biggest joy. The company, the relationship, the connection is what brings me the joy, being in that person's presence. Obviously, we can't be together 24/7 every day and every minute of the day, but those minutes that we are together, it's euphoric because we respect and enjoy being together. So now I'm going to go over some differences between infatuation love versus loyal love. Anyone on Zoom type or ask me? Facebook wants to type or ask a question before I go over my list? Anybody? Okay, you can also, the people that are watching through Zoom, you could send me a private message on the chat section. It's available. You could send me a question through the chat as a private message, and I can see your question if you would like to do it like that, and I can answer it. So we're gonna go over what's the difference between infatuation love versus loyal love. So we'll start with the infatuation first because it's more instant. So one of the things that's very interesting is that when you hear people about like, oh my God, that ecstasy love, it's kind of like, I don't know what got into me. I just saw him and I just fell in love with him. And I always say, marriage is not a swimming pool. It's not a love that you just fall into, because if you fall into it, you could fall out of it also. So to get married with someone just because of that ecstasy feeling without it having a strong foundation, it's not always the best choice. And I have 2 to 3 different friends who are family law lawyers, and they can tell you stories of people who end up in their office to get a divorce, which in the beginning of their relationship, they had that ecstasy, love, and infatuation, and the attraction, and everything was strong. But once they moved in with each other and the actual living started, then that wasn't enough. The size 4, the size 2, the height, the this, the that was not enough anymore, because it takes a lot more to keep a marriage going than infatuation. So I just wanted to disclose that as well. So here we go. When do you know that you are infatuated versus a long-lasting, committed love? So you fall into it suddenly, deepens little with time. It's very oriented towards intimacy and sexually driven. It's all about desires and like I said, like a very sexual, physical desire. Up and down emotionally. That experience of like being in love, can't eat or sleep. It's just this like enormous physiological drive that happens. If you break up, it's very hostile breakup. At slightest irritation, you get edgy with each other. Emphasize beauty. The attraction of the outside is so important, like the appearance, the look. It's all based on feelings. And when you say, I love him, it's all about what does he do for me? I love him because he buys me flour. I love him because he does this for me. I love him. All the love about the partner has to do with what it does for you. It's not I love him for him. It's I love him for what he does for me. I love her for what she does for me. It's not that I love for them. Self-centered, very I-oriented. It's all about me. Shows emotion, physical, expects to find happiness. Like the relationship has to always feel like summer when you're in that infatuated love. Asks, how am I doing? Focus on the performance of the other person. So like it's just about performance. Is she looking right? Is he looking right? Did he open the door for me? All about appearance and performance. Sometimes the person may feel this towards more than one person. There's an idealized image of the person. So if you ask him, so what are some things you don't like about her or him? Nothing. I love everything. What about a little bit? Nothing. And there's this like polarized thinking, and everything they want, you want to be like that. So like kind of sometimes the person ends up not existing and just meshing in to the identity of the other person, and there's no sense of them because they have idealized that person so much. They avoid any problem. It's very into instant gratification. The relationship is all about immediate gratification. It's not real. It's not realistic, very earthly based. It's like a drive, immediate, momentarily. A lot of thinking of what are others going to think, very focused of others. And like I said, the degree, and all the credentials matter so much more. And it's all about, like I said, instantly. How is that, I need to feel it instantly. I need to feel good all the time. I need the attention on me all the time. I need, it's all about pleasing and being. And it's not so much about that long lasting investment. It's all about immediately and instantly with infatuation. And the thoughts and the thinking, everything revolves around the lover and being with that lover. So it's just this kind of like focus on all the time and not existing, which some of these are also red flag. The partner can be excessively, extremely possessive, and the woman or man can take it as he or she cares about me, always wants to know where I am, always checks in on me. And they say, like, I had a case of someone who I set up on a date, and the person said she didn't want to go out with him again. I said, why? She said, because the guy didn't have any plans. I said, what do you mean? She said, well, when he picked me up, he said, where do you want to go? I said, so what's the problem with that? She said, well, no, I want someone who has an agenda. I want someone who has a plan. I don't want to go out with someone. I said, but who says he didn't have an agenda? Maybe he just wanted to check in with you to see what your thoughts and wishes are. So she was someone who was so used to being taken on date, no one ever asking her any questions, just telling her to do this, telling her to do that, we're going here, we're going there, that she considered anything other than that as extremely passive, which is not good either. You need to exist on the date. He and she need to both exist. If one of you is not existing, it's a problem. So sometimes, sometimes girls or guys see this as beautiful. He tells me how to dress. She tells me what to wear. He tells me what to say and what not to say. He tells me what to be. We are not marrying dolls and puppets to change and shape. You are marrying another human being so you could create a beautiful life together. That is the whole saying that God told Adam, I am going to what? Make you an ezer kenegdo. Ezer, someone that can help you, and as time when you need it, challenge you so you can get to what you need to get. So it's about coexisting, and it's not about soul existing. It's not about just one person existing and you follow along. I always tell people, I say, sometimes girls or guys could see this as a healthy thing, but it's horrible. There are people who kind of go into a relationship like a water and food coloring. If you take one drop of food coloring and you put it inside of a water and shake it, the water completely gets the color of the food coloring. And that's not a healthy relationship. A healthy relationship is like oil and water in the bottle. The oil keeps itself. The water keeps itself. Whenever you want, you shake it. They blend in with each other. Whenever you want, you put it aside, and then they still have their self-identity, but they also have their togetherness. So you want to be in a relationship that you can be yourself and yet be together. So both of them is something that you need that's very healthy. If you're ever in a relationship that you are not existing, you don't have a sense of self, you're not being yourself, you can't talk, you can't share ideas, that's not a good thing. Or you have to always act like you come back from the date feeling tired, feeling exhausted, like as if you had to put on an act to be accepted. It's a problem. You want a relationship where you can thrive for just being you, and then that other person sees that beauty of you for just being you. So now let's look at what's a loyal love. What does it mean to have loyal love? Grows with time, always deepening, willing to wait to have sex and be intimate. It's not the priority that, something that needs to happen, has respect for that. Consistent, in love with the person, faithful, committed, has proper perspective. So that means people who are in the loyal love can tell you the things that they disagree on, things that they have a different opinion on, and things that they are sameness. Emphasizes on character. They could point out characters about the person that they really enjoy. Giver, they like to give to each other. Self-controlled, based on others' needs. So it's not that I love him for what he does for me. I love him because of the company he brings. I love him because of the way he looks at the world, the kindness he brings into the world, the way he interacts with people. I love him for him. I don't love him for what he does for me. So it's almost like, imagine the infatuation love is like a human being with the arrows going this way, and whereas the loyal love, it's the hands going outwards and welcoming and sending. It's kind of like this dance of giving and taking and going on. It's a lot more spiritual based. The spirit and the soul exist. Expect to work at happiness. Asks, how are you doing? So remember what we said for infatuation, it's all about how am I doing? Like it's all about me. How am I doing in this relationship? How is this relationship affecting me? Am I happy? Am I not? Whereas in the loyal love, it's how are you doing? How's it going with you? How have you been? Provides unconditional love, acceptance of the other person, feels this way towards one and only. Remember, livdok beishto, one and only. Allows the other person to relate to others. So meaning that they're not possessive. They allow the other partner to talk and have conversation. They have a healthy relationship with each other. Has a realistic view of other person's strengths and weaknesses, works through problems. They're allowed to have difference of opinion. Nowhere does it say that you need to become that one completely without having a differences. One other thing I wanted to mention is that in the 7 days of creation in the book of Breshit, the only time that I saw the word lotov, it's not good, is when God tells Ha'adam, lotov yihyot adam levado. It's not good for mankind to be alone, and I'm going to make him a ezer kenegdo. That's the only time I saw the word lotov, meaning that it teaches us how much a human being drives to have that connection. And that's a drive that God has put in us. Not a drive, just a physical mating drive of procreation. The drive for connection. The connection with the spirit, the soul, the emotion, that kind of connection. And also with the laws of Taharat HaMishpacha, family purity, that 2 weeks of the month, the husband and wife can be intimate physically and romantic and all that. And 2 weeks of the month, they become peers and friends. So no physical contact, no intimacy, no sexuality for 12 to 14 days. So every month they go through this cycle until the woman reaches menopause. So imagine when the couple get married, let's say at 20 or 25, for 20 to up to when a woman is her 50 or 60 that she becomes menopause, they have this on and off physical, sexual contact, emotional, intellectual contact that constantly both have to be there to have that healthy relationship. Thank you, Orly, for your comment. Thank you so much. If you don't have that healthy relationship, it becomes problematic when you don't have the foundation, when you don't have the connection, when you don't have the I and thou, that the soul inside of me greets the soul inside of you, then what becomes of this relationship if it's only physical based? And also that, we say that God only made human beings with B'Tselem Elohim, with the image of God. How do you show godliness? How do you show godliness? By bringing light into the world, by bringing goodness into the world, by bringing respect into the world, ahava in this world. So quality time, enjoying even the silent. You know, you could sit in with the person, and just even sitting with silent on a swing can be so amazing because that person's company is amazing for you. The smell, their presence, and it's long lasting, it's constant, and like it's the stimulation of all the senses together. So whenever you're looking for a loyal kind of love, it's something that takes time and effort. It's a foundation that takes time to build. It doesn't happen instantly. That immediate gratification, you know, people like go on a date, they're like, it's just not there. I just don't feel it. And I always say, but you got to give it a chance to speak to each other. You got to give it a chance to get to know each other. You can't just feel that connection without actually connecting. That connection has to be there for you to connect. So in order to have that, so for all the newcomers that just joined, thank you so much for logging in. We're speaking about the difference between loyal kind of love versus infatuation love, and how important it is to make sure, especially for singles that are dating, to make sure that they are looking for that loyal kind of commitment and love, and how there are so many good quality people that are not being set up, that are not being matched up because they don't fit the magic list. And this magic list needs to create more awareness about it, because people are missing out at such quality people that are out there, that are so kind, caring, loving. You know, I always, there are people that I sometimes match or I introduce. I tell the girl, I say, listen, he's not the boyfriend type. He's not, he doesn't know how to flirt. He doesn't know how to make you fall in love with him, but he's loyal, he's kind, he's caring, he's committed. He's the type that will show up and be available and care to take care of his family. These are the qualities that they have. And it's so important for people that when they go on dates, they get to ask the right questions to understand if their personalities and lifelong goals match each other. You know, asking people questions, or like kind of like having this pretend dating situation, is not going to help it. People need to get to know, understand the family dynamic and the outlook of the person, on their the outlook and the dream life that they have, and see if they match. And I highly recommend to all the beautiful singles that joined in tonight to listen to this. I seriously I applaud you for that. I can't see you guys because your videos are off on Zoom, but I really applaud you for joining. Thank you so much. It's very, very amazing to see you guys joining, to see you guys listening. What I would recommend is make a list for yourself, even a letter to yourself. Imagine if you had a magic wand and anything you could have dreamed of would be available to you in a marriage, in a relationship, in your partner, and the family life you're ideally looking to have. Write it down on the paper. I'm looking for a husband that, that has a job, that's willing, that's wanting to work, maybe learn twice a week. I'm hoping to have children. I'm hoping for them to go to this kind of school. I'm hoping, try to bring out things that are more tangible. Everyone can very easily tell you the height they want, the size they want, the look they want. Okay, fine. We got the afar. We got the earthly of what you're looking for. Now let's go into the image of God, the B'Tselem Elohim. What kind of a B'Tselem Elohim are you looking for in the guy or the girl you want to marry? Focus on that as well. Make a promise to yourself tonight, after listening to this talk, that you're also going to give credit to that godly image that's within you, and start to send out to the universe that I am looking for a partner that has these kind of a quality in their personality. These are the things I'm looking for. And don't mistake this doesn't come to everyone. Like, not every woman is has the gift of learning to be a mother or a stay-home mother or to want to raise her kids, or not every man is given the desire to be a father, to spend time with their kids. This is not something that's just a given for everyone. So the way you could find that out is by asking the person, what kind of things do you enjoy to do on Sunday? What kind of things do you look forward to do when you're married and have kids? What's your ideal afternoon look like? What kind of things do you like to do when you have a family? What makes you happy? What made you happy at home? What kind of things did you do with your family that was the best time that you can remember? Do you enjoy family time, or how did your family spend Shabbat? These things will give you an idea of what kind of a trip or journey this person is planning to go to. And also another thing I would say is try to be an advocate for your other single friends, and try to see maybe you could help them to set you up, and they can help you to set you up. Sometimes you could go out with a guy and they might not be a good match for you, but it could be that they could be a perfect match for a friend of yours. Don't hesitate to continue the act of chesed and kindness. And one of the first time we see the concept of love in the Torah is about the va'ahavta l'recha kamocha. You should love your fellow man as yourself, like yourself. Meaning what? That if you're dreaming and thinking and wanting to get married and have a family, make an effort to also look out for your other single friends that you know. Make an effort of it to look out for them as well. Every time you call a matchmaker, talk about two of your friends as well. Say, can you also have this and this person in mind? They're also looking to get married. It's a beautiful act of kindness, and the world will bring you more kindness back to you. Thank you so much again for listening in. I really am so honored that you guys took the time to listen. I really pray for bracha and hatzlacha and clarity for all the singles, that God should give you the ability to choose and look for the right kind of a person that matches you from the inside. Thank you for the iPhone. Thank you. Again, if any of you on Zoom would like to send me any questions privately, you can go right ahead and I'll answer it. Feel free to do so. Use the chat. The chat is available. That God should really give you the ability to look for the essence of the person, for the personality and for what's within the person, and not be so quick to judge. Pictures are pictures, but that doesn't mean it's the whole person. A picture is just a picture. It's worth it to get to know more about the person than just a picture. Thank you so much, Laura. Thank you for your thank you. It really makes a big difference. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for the beautiful compliment. Because I'm telling you, there's so many good people that are being overseen and they're not getting the opportunities that they should just because they don't fit the magic list. And I want to tell you that what takes to make a good marriage is not what you think when you're single. My husband always says, when you want to get advice on what to look for in a marriage, don't go ask your single friends. Don't go ask your divorced friends. Don't go ask people that you don't know. Oh, thank you so much for the compliment. Go ask people who have a marriage life that you look up to. Go ask them what to look for, because you want to follow a working recipe, not an idealized recipe. You want to follow a recipe that's actually working. At the bottom of the line, you have to live with this person. You have to wake up to this person. You have to, God willing, down the line, have children with this person. So you need to make sure that your essence of the self, the person who you are on the inside, can coexist with the essence and the person who that person, soul and symbolism is. So you need to make sure that you can respect each other, that God forbid if a situation like the quarantine and the pandemic hits and business is tight, money is tight, that's gone, and all you have left is you and him in the living room. Can you stand each other? I could guarantee you after this pandemic is done, there will be relationships that are going to fall apart. I could guarantee you. Relationships that were not made with the right choices, right intention, right ideas are going to get hit the worst. Because when you take everything from it, what's left? Like in the Torah, it says that they ate from when they were naked, they were not embarrassed until they ate from the apple. When they ate from the apple, then they realized they were naked. So this nakedness is very, very powerful. You have to think to yourself, if this person that I'm dating now comes with nothing, everything they own is taken away from them, and their soul is left, can I stand this person? Can I tolerate this person? Can I build my life with them again? Is this someone that pumps me up, that together we can rebuild this again? Do you understand the power of that? You want someone that pumps you up. That's the biggest magic. You want someone that gives you wind, becomes the wind to your wings, that doesn't cut off your wings and like stick them to you, gives you wind to fly. And that itself is so powerful. If you could stand the person. So someone asked, how can I know if I could stand this person or not? So a lot of it has to do with the way people date, so that, let's say, if you're very the type that likes to do act of kindness and do this and do that, and you're very into like family time, so you try, as you date longer, to do some of those demos within your dating. So if you like being around kids, if you like being around, offering your time and being involved in community, you talk about that. You say, during my free time, what do you like to do for your free time? These are some of the things I enjoy doing, like what, and try to do it with them. There's nothing like a hands-on experience. And asking them, how often do you spend time with your niece and nephew or younger sister? What do you do with them? What do you do for your free time? This is the most powerful question you can ask when you're dating. Please share with me, what do you enjoy the most doing with your free time? When you have extra time on your hand, what do you like to do? This is very powerful to get to know that person. How do you know if you're compatible with someone? Oh, sorry, hold on one second. The question. How do you know if you're compatible with someone if people often put on their best performance on dates and want to present the best? So thank you so much, Donna. Thank you for the message. So that's why I'm not very into this formal restaurant eating dating. I think the best is to do park date, walking date, morning dates, dates that involves like a few hours of time spending together, and not just this formal structure dress up at a restaurant across each other. And there's a lot of also good icebreakers and games. Where's my game? Sorry, trying to look for it. I had this, I don't know where I put it. I have this card game that I made. It's like a self-discovery game. These games, there's a Uno game. These are amazing card games that asks questions and you get to learn about them, and also can be very helpful. You need to date for a while. Don't rush into marriage. What do you think? I don't agree with that. What's a long time? I always tell people, well, let's say when you're done with school and you're ready to get a job, and a job opportunity comes up that's a perfect fit for you, you would not give up the job and say, I'm waiting long term until I decide if I want to take the job or not. Dating is the same way. Statistically, you can go and look it up. There are people who live together. There are people who dated for a very, very long time. Just because they dated a very, very long time does not necessarily mean that their marriage lasted longer. Or you could even go ask divorce lawyer. That would be your best place. There are many that get a divorce and they dated for 6 months and a year, and there are people who dated for 2 months and they're still married and working things out and doing fine. I think a lot of it has to do that you need to be clear with what you're looking for, what you want, and also being realistic, and don't live in a dreamland of changing the other person. And if you're within a community and the circle of people that are being matched up to you is not working out well, then you need to start advocating, or like kind of going over your list and prioritizing what matters to you the most. Like for me, also character midot was very, very significant. So I wasn't going to budge with that. That meant the world to me. Any tips on how to maximize your time being single to make yourself a better future spouse? I love that question. I did this with a few people that worked. Volunteer, become chesed person for families who have kids. Volunteer your time and ask the mother, instead of paying you, to pray for you to find a good match. You get the hands-on experience of what it means to be a wife and a mother, and you're offering charity with your time. It's the best way to do it. You take away that illusion of what marriage looks like and you see the actuality, and you're doing an act of chesed. What do you think when a man is possessive and easily become angry? That's very challenging. It just depends on how it takes course. Anger is very tricky. You know, a lot of times people can become angry a certain way just because of what they saw back at home, and nobody ever taught them how to express their anger. Anger is like a cover up of fear, insecurity, and sometimes because they don't know what's going on, they did actually. I wanted to share this beautiful picture that I posted today. It's a husband and wife fighting with a baby crying in the middle. And my friend sent me a writing that it says, Yamima Mizrahi, that says that machloket is chelek mavet, partially dead. So when people have very aggressive anger outbursts, it's kind of like partially killing that side of the child. So we need to be very careful with that. And people who are in relationship with people who get angry and like fear or fueled up and possessive, you need to set boundary and healthy limits, because the more you don't, the worse it could get at times. Do you think getting married when you're both not financially stable is a good idea, or better to wait? It just depends on what kind of outlook of life you have. If you're willing to accommodate each other and work things out, and there's no reason to wait. But if you're planning to put a lot of expense on yourself and stuff, then like I said, if there's this enormously amazing job waiting for you, wouldn't you put everything aside to get the job? So the relationship is the same thing. As long as you're realistic, when you find the gem, why would you put it aside? What would matter to you would be to live with that person, even if it's in an empty apartment. If that person matters to you enough, you make accommodation to work things out, because the relationship is significant for you. What do you think about marrying someone with a different religious level than you? Should people only date someone on a similar religious level? That's a tricky question, because it depends on the lifestyle that you are hoping to have. If they are in a growing, they're open to growing and observing more. Like, let's say a person who fully is keeping Shabbat and practicing Shabbat and keeping kosher, and the other person has no desire in doing that, it can make it very difficult. If the other person is willing to grow and open and willing to work with it, then there could possibly be very well. Like, I have very, very good friends that married a girl that didn't necessarily cover her hair, and like now is trying to do it on Shabbat. Or when my husband and I were going out, I wasn't planning to cover my hair, but as I got to meet him and saw what he stands for, I said, okay, it's not going to be the end of the world. Like, he has a lot of other qualities. So like, we worked it out, and my husband is a lot more observant in certain area than me, and I'm growing, and we have a respectful relationship. Respect is the foundation of a healthy relationship. If the respect is not there, everything else will fall down. So it's about having respect, and don't live in an illusion of changing, that you're going to change the other person. It's nonsense. You are not going. The only person that you could possibly change is yourself. The only person. Even when you have kids, or all you could be is a good role model for them to follow. But the most important thing is that you have to have comfort and acceptance for yourself and who you are. And when you're dating, try to look for someone that creates an environment that when you're in their company, you could thrive, that you could be yourself. You don't feel heavy. You don't feel sad. You don't feel resentful. And I'm telling you, all these people that are being put on hold that I keep talking about because they don't fit the magic list, sometimes, when I encourage and I push that, thank God many marriages have come from it, that they get married, they come back and they're like, oh my God, there's no one that would have ever meet this person. And I'm so happy, like, I listened to you. And also there's groups of, unfortunately, people who got divorced, but there's such good quality, caring, loving people that sometimes you could go out with them and it could be a perfect match, and you can totally be suitable for each other. So I would say if you keep dating within the same circle of people and no matches have come up, then it's good to look over your list again. Look over your list. I always say you need to have the physical criteria, like, how God made Adam out of earth. And then you need to have the godly image list. So the earthly list can be, let's say, if you wish to put the height, this and that, but you also need to have the other list that talks about the qualities: kindness, caring, slow to anger, merciful, hands-on, someone that loves to be with his kids, someone that enjoys to spend time with their kids. When people get married and have children, so many other things comes up that you have to keep working on that love to stay and to grow. People think that just because you get married and you got married to someone you love, that's it. Doesn't really work like that. Marriage goes through a lot of ups and downs, and if you don't work on it, your marriage will go stale. I always tell people marriage in a bottle is like oil and water in a bottle. If you just put it on the bookshelf and put it on the side, the couple will separate, will both go on two different sides of it, and they will have no connection with each other. If you don't have constant movement and involvement and connection, your marriage will go dry, and there has to be that interaction. Obviously, it's good for you to have time to yourself, do things that you enjoy. Your partner does things that, that has time to themselves, but there has to be that time together as well. That's what will help the marriage. So the more you look for someone that you can grow with, spend time with, and become basar echad, the better investment you're doing for looking for a lifelong partner. Any other questions anyone has? So my email address is nataliezangan@gmail.com. nataliezangan@gmail.com. You can send me your questions, and whenever I get the chance, I'll answer it back. I really, really believe that it's important that we do our utmost that we can so that we could help the singles that are going through this hard time. So I'm having another question come up right now. Where do you suggest we look for these quality guys? I don't think my friends and I are looking in the right places, unfortunately. Thank you. Asking for a friend. Do you do shidduchim? Also, so where do you think, the question of where do you think we should look for these quality guys? I'm telling you, a lot of the quality guys are there, but many of them don't meet the radar because they don't match. Some of the matchmakers also, some of the matchmakers, the first questions they ask, what do you do? What's your credential? Are you educated? And then if the guy has a business, sometimes they don't make it to the list. So it could be that they thank you, Afshan, for coming on. So good to see you. They don't make it to the list. So it could be that the matchmaker you're dealing with, this poor guy just didn't make it to the list because he didn't fit the magic list. So I would say be an advocate for each other. If you have other single friends, reach out to women in the community, to people that know people. Let them know that you're dating. Sometimes people don't even know that you're dating, that they should look out for you. So just like if you were eagerly looking to find a job, you would network for yourself. This is the same thing. You network with each other. Prayers are also good, but the networking makes all the difference. The networking and letting people know that you're looking. Do I do shidduchim? I don't officially do it, but you are welcome to send me your resume and what you're looking for. I have other friends that are in the matchmaking world, and I can pass on the information. And some matchmakers charge money, some don't. Some have a whole criteria of list that they go through, some don't. My thing is that I always tell people that if someone is contacting you and saying they want to be set up, my question always is, when can you see yourself settling down? They ask me, what do you mean by that question? I say, imagine we find the most suitable person for you. How soon do you see yourself proposing and getting married? If they tell me 6 months or a year, I don't take on cases like that at all. I have so much commitment in my life that I don't have time to bring people to date, and I'm telling them that they will be the ideal person, and they don't think they want to settle down until 6 months to a year from now. I don't do that. I don't mess around with people's time and life and, like that. It's not right. And also, I think it's really, really bad to text. I'm not into texting. It's not the right way. It's not professional. I mean, even some bosses text now, but I don't think that's right. I think God gave us the ability of ledaber, diber, talk, then that's what we need to use. Talk. We need to conversate by communicating with each other. And you need to be respectful of people's times and feelings, you know? And also something my husband always says, he says that shomer negia is a philosophy of dating. It's not just about not touching. So shomer negia is a style of dating. People who date shomer negia style don't spend hours on the phone. They don't talk past 12, 1 o'clock. They don't talk about anything and everything that could possibly be there. Your words are powerful. It's not just about being physically intimate with someone that's not permitted under shomer negia. You shouldn't be disclosing way too much information either. You need to have, you know, the first few dates should be like an airplane talk, like with how you speak with someone that's sitting in the airplane next to you. At least the first 2 dates, it should be a lot of formal conversation, because the more you keep emptying yourself on every date you go on, you'll be depleted and like constantly drained. So you need to be mindful of how much you're sharing, how much you're disclosing, and have boundaries. So I would say the first 2 to 3 dates should be very casual, preferably coffee, lounge, you know, light drink would be the best until you get more comfortable with each other. And I'm very into day dates, like Sunday morning, going to the garden, going, you know, museum, somewhere that you can walk and talk, because when you're face to face, eye to eye, can be way too intimate too quickly, and it can make it hard for people to comfortably conversate. So that's what I would say. Thank you again for your time. It's been a whole hour that we did this. Thank you again. My email is nataliezangan@gmail.com. I'm so happy we were able to do this. I hope you found it helpful. I really wish bracha and hatzlacha for everyone that's dating and everyone that's married to have shalom bayit, peace and harmony in their homes. Thank you again for logging in.